Yes, Priji, go ahead.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन यदि पत्राणि विदनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवे भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णापृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, verses chapter 13, verses 28 through 32. Verse 28. एकदाचार्यन्वत्सान् स रामो वनम् आविशत् पञ्चसासु त्रियामासु आयनापुर निष्वज. Ekada, one day, Charayan Vatsan, while taking care of all the calves, Sarama, along with Balaram, Vanam, within the forest, Avisat entered Panchasasu, 5 or 6, Triyamasu, nights, Hayana, a whole year, Apurana, Puranishu, not being fulfilled, 5 or 6 days before the completion of 1 year. Aja, Lord Sri Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One day, 5 or 6 nights before the completion of the year, Krishna, tending the calves, entered the forest along with Balaram. Purport. Up to this time, even Balaram was captivated by the bewilderment that covered Brahma. Even Balaram did not know that all the calves and cowherd boys were expansions of Krishna, or that he himself was also an expansion of Krishna. This was disclosed to Balaram just 5 or 6 days before the completion of the year. Text 29. Tato vidura charato gavo vatsan upavrajam govardhanadri sirasi charantyo dadrisus trinam. Tata, thereafter, vidurat, from not a distant place, charata, while pasturing, gava, all the cows, vatsan, and their respective calves, upavrajam, also pasturing near Vrindavan, Govardhanadri Sirasi, on the top of Govardhan Hill, Charantaya, while pasturing to find the Trishu, saw Tinam, tender grass nearby. Thereafter, while pasturing atop Govardhan Hill, the cows looked down to find some green grass and saw their calves pasturing near Vrindavan, not very far away. Text 30. दिष्टवाथ तत् स्नेहवसो स्मृतात्मा सर्गो व्रजो सत्यात्मपदुर्ग मार्गः द्विपाथ ककुड ग्रीव उदास्य पुच्छो गद तुंकृतैर अश्रु पया यवेन दृष्ट्वा. When the cows saw their calves below, Atha, thereafter, Tata, Snehavaša, because of increased love for the calves, Asmrita Atma, as if they had forgotten themselves, Sa, that, Govraja, herd of cows, Ati Atma Padurga Marga, escaping their caretakers because of increased affection for the calves, although the way was very rough and hard. Dvipath, pair of legs together, Kakut Griva, their humps moving with their necks, Udasya Pucha, raising their heads and tails, Agat came, Hunkriteh, lowering, lowing very loudly, Ashrupaya, with milk flowing from the nipples, Javena, very forcibly. When the cows saw their calves from top of Govardhan Hill, they forgot themselves and their caretakers because of increased affection, and although the path was very rough, they ran toward their calves with great anxiety, each running as if with one pair of legs, their milk bags full and flowing with milk, their heads and tails raised, and their humps moving with the necks. They ran forcefully until they reached their calves to feed them. Purport. Generally, the calves and cows are pastured separately. The elderly men take care of the cows, and the small children see to the calves. This time, however, the cows immediately forgot their position as soon as they saw the calves below Govardhan Hill, and they ran with great force, their tails erect and their front and hind legs joined until they reached their calves. Text 31. Sametya gavo dho vatsan vatsavatyopi apayayan ilantya eva changani lihantya swadhasampaya. Sametya, assembling, Gava, all the cows, Adha, down at the foot of Govardhan Hill, Vatsan, all their calves, Vatsavatya, as if new calves had been born from them, Api, even though new calves were present, Apayayan, fed them, Nilantaya, swallowing them, Eva, as if, Cha, also, Angani, their bodies, Lihantya, licking as they do when newborn calves are born, present. Swa Odhasham, Paya, their own milk flowing from the milk bags. Translation. The cows had given birth to new calves, but while coming down from Govardhan Hill, the cows, because of increased affection for the older calves, allowed the older calves to drink milk from their milk bags and then began licking the calves' bodies in anxiety, as in wanting to swallow them. Text 32. Gopastad rodhanaya sa moghya lajjoru maniyuna durgadva krichrato bhyetya govatsedatrishu sutan. Gopa, the coward men, Tatrodhana Ayasa, of their attempt to stop the cows from going to their calves. Moghya, on account of the frustration, Lajja, being ashamed, Uru Manyuna, and at the same time becoming very angry, Durga Adva, Krichrata. Although they passed the very rough way with great difficulty, Abhiyatyaya, after reaching their Govatse, along with the calves, the Trishu saw Sutan, their respective sons. Coward men, having been unable to check the cows from going to their calves, felt simultaneously ashamed and angry. They crossed a rough road with great difficulty, but when they came down and saw their own sons, they were overwhelmed by great affection. Purport. Everyone was increasing in affection for Krishna. When the coward men coming down from the hill saw their own sons, who are no one else than Krishna, their affection increased. End of purport. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharin Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatari Hey Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi. So we see here like Brahma having stolen the calves and the coward boys, and it's almost a year since then. And the boys have grown and the calves have grown. As it is evident from the verse 28, 29, that the calves who were feeding on grass atop of Govardhan Hill saw from up there down that their calves, not the original ones, but the ones that were created by Krishna with his own form, expansion, they are down there in Vrindavan. And when they saw, even though they had their new calves, it's been almost a year, so they left all of them and ran towards their older calves. Because the older calves were all expansions of Krishna. And Krishna attracts everybody lovingly. It all depends on what kind of proclivity one is born with. There is Devi Sampada and there is Asuri Sampada. So those who are born with Devi Sampada in mode of goodness, they are naturally attracted to Krishna. But Asuric people, they like to challenge Krishna. So here the calves are all Krishna's expansion, and the cows naturally, out of love for Krishna, is running with full speed. Even though the road was full of stones and pebbles, but the cows nevertheless ran full speed and reached their calves and began licking them and allowing them to suck their nipples. So they could have the milk, even though they were older calves. And then the cows were licking them as if they wanted to swallow them. Because no matter how much you love Krishna, never enough. So when we are doing our chanting, reading, sometimes we get overwhelmed also sometimes by Krishna's mercy and his merciful nature. when some material written by Srila Prabhupada come before us, and we are able to then intensely feel Krishna's presence. Krishna is within our hearts, everybody's heart. And how does Krishna make that feeling intense? By externally making it look like he is very far, even though he is within our heart. So that vipralamba feeling, viyoga feeling, intensifies the desire to be with Krishna, to think about Krishna, to love Krishna. So that feeling of love, that feeling of intense love is what Krishna relishes. And the cows being having the calves who are almost 1 year old now, but they are Krishna's expansion, so they are so strongly drawn towards them. So, and on this pastime, Balaram is disclosed this pastime about the calves, about Lord Brahma's trick and Lord Krishna's trick on top of Brahma's trick to trick Brahma. So whenever we see, we understand Krishna, so we have to understand Krishna from multiple angles, multiple point of views. So Krishna's potencies, the spiritual creation, the material creation, the marginal creation, and the role of each one of those, the potency of the Lord. Internal potency, marginal potency, material or external potency. So we being jivas are marginal potency of the Lord. So with the marginal potency, we are often deluded by ignorance because we have been put into this material body, which is made of 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements, then the spiritual element, which is our soul. And along with the soul, there is super soul. This is the witness of our actions. Our actions determine how much progress we are making. Where do we want to be? Once having understood the fact that Krishna is the only purpose in our life, Krishna is the only goal, then we must endeavor with all our energies for Krishna's bhakti, Krishna's mercy. We can try, and Krishna will pull us towards him. But that attempt to try has to be sincere, very sincere. So that sincerity is what Krishna notices. that this person is trying very, very hard. And we also know that Radharani, her pleasure is a pleasure potency, is even more merciful than Krishna. So devotees always plead with Radharani, Hare. In the Mahamantra, Hare means Radharani, the energy of the Lord. She is very merciful. So when she notices that a devotee is trying to make progress towards Krishna, to achieve Krishna's mercy, he is repeatedly chanting my name or Krishna's name together with me, Mahamantra. So immediately she will ask Krishna to bestow mercy upon this poor soul. So it's like a genuine cry of a baby for his mother. So when a baby is lying quietly, playing with his toys, mother is able to do household chores. But when the baby is hungry and wants his mother's attention, then the baby starts to cry. And wherever the mother is, who can hear the cry, she'll come running to make sure that the baby is okay, to pick up the baby, to tend to the baby's needs, whether he's hungry or whether he needs a change of diaper, whatever. But the mother is tending to the baby. Why? Because he was crying for some need of his, for some attention that he needs. And we are here also in a very distressful condition. Although we try to be comfortable materially, however, really we are in a very distressful condition. Janma, Jara, Vyadhi, Mrityu. These four things are constantly bothering us. If you are feeling happy, maybe you are feeling a little bit healthy and energetic for a moment. And the moment we feel a little healthy, happy, we are indulging in sense gratification. And then when we fall down, and then we fall sick, and then we think of Krishna. Oh Krishna, why did I fall sick? Please save me. So it's always something, uh, you know, a kind of a battle going on. We want to be happy. The whole goal is wanting to be happy. And this flickering so-called happiness is not real happiness. It is basically absence of misery that we call it happiness. Kind of Advaita. So but the real happiness is when we are able to cry for the Lord and to obtain His mercy. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadeva hrideshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achinta gunasvarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So that's the only thing that is important. Chanting the holy name with love, with an ointment of love in our eyes. then we will be able to experience the mercy of the Lord. So we need to always understand Krishna's potency, compare it to where we stand, and make sure we are always longing for Krishna, just like the cows and then the cowherd men whose sons were also made into expansions of Krishna. The parents developed so much love and affection for their own sons. So that's how one, because we are like, Krishna is like a magnet and we are like small particles of iron. We are attracted full speed to go stick to that magnet. So that is the understanding for one to always be drowned in the ecstasy of love for Krishna by reading, discussing Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's features, Krishna's potencies, philosophy, everything connected to Krishna is all uplifting and purifying. And that is the key to making one's life successful. Doing the best that we can under the circumstances and continue to make those little steps, little endeavor towards Krishna, even if it is not 100%, it is some progress, whatever it is. So according to that progress is never lost. That bhajan is never lost. So even if we are supposed to chant Krishna's name 10 million times or 100 million times in this lifetime, how many of those 100 million times that we chant sometimes are with intensity, are with love? So that quality is also important. So we can and focus. And it's a very simple formula that Prabhupada has given. You chant from your mouth and hear from your ear every single syllable that we utter from our mouth, from our tongue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Krishna is there, present in his, because he is absolute, he is present in his name. So we are not away from Krishna then when we are chanting his name. So I'll stop here and this time ask if there are any questions or comments. Please feel free to address them. Thank you very much for joining in. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
No questions.
No questions, bro.
No questions. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Everything okay?
Everything is fine, Mataji.
Nice to see you. Thank you
Good to
soon.
see you.
Talk later. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna.